Today we want to talk about the word delicious as we begin this series of conversations that is all about your deliciously unreasonable life. Now, for us, the word delicious has evolved a bit. When we use that word, we're now tending more and more and more than ever before towards what you might actually look at as just simply being the leading edge. And what we mean by that is that if you really do pay attention to what is actually delicious to you, you're going to find that in all of this, in its manifestation, in its appearance in your life, it is indeed quite the leading edge, as our friends Abraham would mean by their use of that term. Now, we're not trying to play a game of semantics here. What we're doing is actually inviting you to deepen your awareness of why the word unreasonable coupled with the word delicious is such a powerful coming together. In other words, you have these amazing experiences that arise moment after moment after moment, constant and consistent. And whether you're aware of the delicious aspects of these is really not here nor there at any given moment. It is a wonderful thing, however, to put your attention in that direction and to decide indeed that you are not only in the right place at the right time in the right way, as you most definitely are, but that it is a very delicious thing indeed to be in this place as you are there in this particular way. Something quite wonderful is always happening, and that's the way we like to say about everything at every moment in every way. Whether you recognize it or not is up to you, but that is definitely the case. And so as we talk about this word delicious, it's not just sort of the sumptuousness and the juiciness of the word, although those qualities and characteristics we highly amplify in our use of that word. But it is also the understanding that you have at any given time, at any given moment, that not only, again, you are in the right place at the right time in the right way, but what you're conjuring, moving from one moment to the next, to the next, to the next, is something astounding and something amazing. So as you pay attention to this and you give your attention in this direction and you decide that maybe perhaps this is the case, regardless of what you think you should be doing and regardless of what you think should be happening, that actually what is occurring right now is that you're already living your deliciously unreasonable life. But let's talk for a moment as well about why unreasonable is such a delightful and delicious word. When you are focused in on physical reality and you are taking physical reality on its terms and you are treating yourself as the person who is affected by your own creations, these physical things that you have called forth into your amazing life. When you do this, you're being very reasonable indeed. You're doing what very well-meaning people taught you to do, what you have undoubtedly, in your own very well-meaning way, taught others to do. When you're being reasonable, what you're simply doing is dealing with what is happening on the terms in which it is happening, which in effect is sort of turning your back on where you are and trying to look at the past, reconcile the past, figure out the past, deal with the past, fix the past, amend the past, make some sort of amends for the past, particularly because in your reasonableness, very, very powerful feature of living in a chaotic universe, you're trying to keep anything bad from happening in the future. That's the, shall we say, the little extra gift that's given in every package of reasonableness. That if you're reasonable, then you're hedging your bets, saying that probably bad things won't happen to you coming down the line. But in fact, since bad things are actually never happening to you, the things that you consider to be bad things from a chaotic universe perspective are really just opportunities to make new decisions. And they're just there to help you refine what it is that you're intending to have. They're perhaps indeed manifestations of what it is that you thought would be necessary. And so you can change your mind as to what that is. But there's nothing bad actually happening to you because you don't happen to actually live in a chaotic universe. And most of the bad things have to do with the protection of whatever it is that you have created, which is completely unnecessary. And it's the protection, a very reasonable thing indeed, that is designed to keep you in place, dealing with life on its terms, dealing with the quote-unquote things that happen to you on the terms of the things that are happening to you, instead of deciding, well, wait, what I actually want is this. This is what I will have instead of what it is that I am having here. So instead of dealing with life on its own terms, if what you will do instead is allow yourself some unreasonableness, such as saying, no matter what this looks like, it can't possibly be what it is that I'm afraid it might be. That's a nice, deliciously unreasonable thing to say. But that's just the beginning. That's just where you might start. Our recommendation is, of course, that you not only begin to speak to yourself in this way, to begin to think of yourself in this way, but also that you give yourself an increasing amount of space and leeway to change your mind at any given moment, to decide for the amazingness of your own life, to decide that in fact you are in the right place at the right time in the right way, a highly unreasonable statement. That in fact everything is happening for you, to your benefit, and on your behalf. Once again, another highly unreasonable statement. To decide that no matter where you go or what you do, that you're always in the right place, that you cannot make a wrong decision, that even while pushing very, very intensely against yourself, there's still nothing really wrong going on. You may not like what is happening. It may not feel very good, but it's not wrong. It just is not what you want right at that moment, and that's really all that it boils down to. You see, one of the most unreasonable things of them all here that we can offer is to notice how very simple everything is in your life. It's actually not nearly as complex as it would pretend to be. That the development of complexity, while an admirable trait in its way, is in fact something that keeps you bound up with the things that you're observing in their complexity. But when you really make things very simple and you just simply say to yourself, this is what I will have because I simply want to have it, and for no other reason, there's nothing else to be said about it, there's nothing else to be noticed about it. It's just what I'm wanting right now, right here, today, where I'm at. When you begin to see this, when you begin to notice this, life gets a lot simpler because you're beginning to, for example, declare what your life actually is, like the deliciously unreasonable you that you are. Instead of saying, this is what I'm having to deal with, you're saying, no, this is a good place to be. Something wonderful is happening here. And as easy as this is, it's only going to get easier. As delicious as this is, it's only going to get better. As wonderful and amazing as all this is, it's only going to become more and more and more of that, and it certainly will, as it has been doing all of your life. Whether you notice this or not is another thing. Whether you decided that was true or not is another thing. But in fact, it is the case that you are always in the right place, at the right time, in the right way, right here and right now. That you're never, ever, ever subject to the unwantedness that you have cultivated over time just because you weren't paying attention to what you were doing. And that really is all that has happened. Because if you had been paying attention, and this isn't intellectual oversight, that's not what we mean. But if you've been paying attention to the vibration, in other words, if you've been paying attention to how things feel, you probably would not have found yourself in this place. But that's no guarantee of anything in the future. That's just simply a statement of how things are right now. As easy as it is to see this, or to at least imagine it, or to think that maybe perhaps it might be the case, it will be getting easier and easier and easier from here. Of that, there can be no doubt. So your deliciously unreasonable life, we're not starting off really so much with a bang as we are just with a quiet invitation. Pay attention and notice how simple things can be, and notice that there's not terribly complex things going on in your life. Things are actually working out for you very well. It's actually quite simple, and it's quite easy to notice this. And this feeling of a deepening grace, of an expansive peace, of an amazing freedom that resonates in all places, at all times, in all ways. This we highly recommend that you give your attention to. This we highly recommend that you notice is actually working out for you right here and right now. This series of conversations will not be big, huge, gigantic stepping stones. They're really going to be more like one thought after another. Easy does it as you go down the road. Let it be simple. Open yourself up to the freedom that is already there, and notice in that very delightful, delicious, and somewhat quiet way how much better things are getting moment after moment after moment, and how wonderful and amazing the life is that you are creating, because it certainly is. And you are certainly right there in the middle of it. And it is really, truly, deeply, deliciously, powerfully amazing. So we invite you to rest in this expansion and to know that as good as this is, and it really is amazing, it's only going to be getting better and better and better from here.